come.
My computer doesn't work. I haven't received an email since.
Didn't they have an extra for it?
Oh, get it on.
Welcome, everyone, to the City of Joliet pre-council meeting on Monday, January 6th, 5:30 here in the council chambers. We have Honorable Mayor Terry Darcy presiding.
Okay, we'll begin with roll call. Mayor Darcy,
Here.
Councilman Cardenas,
Here.
Councilman Clement,
Here.
Councilman Guerrero,
Here.
Councilman Hug,
Here.
Councilwoman Ibarra,
Here.
Councilman Mudrin,
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone who would like to speak under citizens to be heard on agenda items? Okay, Trista Brown.
Hello, everyone. I am just coming to speak on about the Citizen Advisory Committee proposed for the comprehensive plan. I just got a couple of questions that I know you may not get answer from today, but just some things I wanted to ask about. I know it says about Citizens Advisory. So I looked over the 13 people that was chosen. One of my questions would be, how were they chosen? And I know that we meet third Wednesdays of every on Wednesdays with the fire chief, and these are community leaders who come to that serve the community, that knows a little bit more about what's going on in the community. So I'm just kind of concerned that why isn't ordinary people from the community not on that advisory board? Because it looks like everybody holds positions, and if you know, Joliet is different. It's not the same south side, east side, west side, Gotcha side, or whatever it is. It's spread out all the way to Caton Farm, different places. So I'm just concerned about when we have other people for citizen advisory, then where are the ordinary citizens on this board? Thank you.
Thank you.
And I got the same thing, you know, with the comprehensive advisory plan, so-called citizen advisory plan committee thing here. Why are these things made up of people who already have powers of offices or government officials or city officials or county officials or state officials? You know, it's like they're all part of the problem to start with. And so we sure don't need an advisory committee to be made up of these same people who have caused problems, because you're not gonna get nowhere. That is just like, excuse me by expression, electing Congress people to president. You know, when you're in Congress, you didn't do stuff when you were in Congress, and now you wanna be president then. You ain't gonna do any change your ways any more than what you did when you were in Congress. And that's sort of like what this is gonna be. It's gonna be the same people who have caused the problems, especially with all the development problems that we've had. And I don't need to tell you everything that's going on with my life, to how I've been suffering from it all. Because of people like this who just keep on letting this stuff happen and don't care one bit about the consequences to the residents' lives. You know, with the North Point thing that's gonna keep on going on, and Mayor, you end up saying on WJLL that the North Point thing is gonna happen no matter what. So then any other future meetings on approvals of warehouses and stuff for North Point, it's already been decided. Just because past councils already basically approved this whole project, but that ain't right, you know, because we all know how bad and how wrong the past council members and everything, the past councils have screwed the whole city and the county up with all this development. You know, and things need to be taken, you know, Citizens Advisory Plan Committee should be made up of citizens who have experienced all the negativity, who have experienced all the problems with the development. I mean, that's the only way you're gonna get any solutions and get true solutions, is go to the people who have suffered and let them be the ones that tell you what they think that should be done. You know, you ain't gonna get nowhere by having the same people that have caused this and plan all this development out and cause all these problems. It's not gonna change anything. You're not gonna accomplish anything. You're just gonna have these same people say, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. You know, but okay, what are consequences? Well, we don't care what consequences are. We won't, go ahead, put it all in, it'll all be good. Well, I still keep asking to this day, what's been so good about Centerpoint coming in? You know, being the largest inland port thing, that's all you guys can say, is being the largest inland port. That's all you can say, but the problems way outweigh that, way outweigh the benefits of it all. You know, we have all the trucks, we have the traffic, we have, you don't have a police force could even enforce and police it all. You know, you just create so much problems, and the residents have been suffering, and they go on suffering. You know, so this advisory committee thing should not be made up of anybody who's in office or works for any government officials or even business owners either, because they're just gonna push for it too. They want whatever they want, good for their business. But I think this advisory committee needs to be made up of real citizens who have suffered. That's who should be on this committee.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
I'm Jay Ringo, 722 Marion. I just wanted to comment about the advisory committee. I believe it should be citizens, residents of the city that actually own a home, not people from out of town. Because they're business owner, I understand the vested interest they have in the city, but it should be residents, people that are voting, paying the taxes. There's residency rules for employment with the city. There's residency rules to run for your positions. There's residency rules for the other committees. So I think this one should be the same. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Megan Cooper, Joliet. I never thought that I would be here tonight to say some of the things that I am about to say. I'm also here to talk about the Citizens Advisory Board, and I concur with what everybody else has said. District 5 has gone for a long time being the most underserved and unrepresented district here in Joliet. But now we have a councilwoman who stands for us, who stands with us, who fights for what her constituents want and for what they need. And she's constantly disrespected. Disrespected by hiding things from her, just like the North Point situation a week ago. Then I called and I asked her about this advisory board. I was told she didn't even know anything about it, was never even consulted on it. But then yet in the print, it has on there that the city council people would be consulted about who they would want to see on this board. There are 3 members from LEDA, one being a city council person that is on this board. That is an unfair advantage. Out of 13 people, that makes almost up to 24% of that board. But yet District 5 has 1 person. And this is nothing to take away from Pastor Martin, but you have very intelligent people, citizens that have boots and straps on the ground, who knows what the issues are within the community and that will have a great impact on this. There's a lot of names on there that I do not agree with, and I think that this needs to be looked over again and that it needs to be totally redone. For one, a council person should not be on that board. This is a citizens review board that's supposed to give input to the council. That's an unfair advantage. Second off, I want to say this too when it comes to District 5. It has been said multiple times that when you guys are voting on issues that you usually defer to the person whose district whatever you're voting for is in. That happens for other districts except for District 5 time and time again. Our city councilwoman, she sits up here and she speaks on issues, and all of you except for Cesar Guerrero vote against what her wishes are. She knows her people. She's out at public events. I can't tell you how many events that I've went to or how many people that have called me and said, hey, you know, I've seen Susanna. She's everywhere. My own mother even tells me that she sees her everywhere. She has her pulse on her community, but then you all sit up there and you vote as if you don't know it, because I can say one thing, it's a couple of people that has never come to any meeting that I have been to that's on the east side of the river. But then yet you sit up here and vote. You sit up here and you will defer from voting on agenda items because you say that it's a conflict of interest. But I can't think of any other bigger conflict of interest of taking campaign money from a company, then getting up here and voting for the company, voting on the item. Not just voting on the item, but voting in favor of. That is one heck of a conflict of interest. But when it comes to District 5, anything goes. And then on top of that, personal relationships. We establish personal relationships with these people, and then we come right on up in here and sit on a bench, and then we vote in favor of. Big conflict of interest. All I'm asking for is give District 5 the respect that you give the other districts here in the city of Joliet, because we deserve it. And Councilwoman Ibera, we gonna stand with you. And we are going to rally with you, because those days are over and done with you coming into our community and telling us what you're going to give us and what you're going to do. We should have more input than this. One person out of 13 versus Lita having 3 people, which makes up 25%. Come on now, you tell me that that's fair. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Nathaniel Washburn with KGG LLC. I'm going to keep my comments brief. Myself, John Barry with McNaughton Development, and representatives of Ryan Holmes and V3, our engineer, are here for item 43-25, the Vista Ridge subdivision. We're here to answer any questions the council might have this evening. And we just wanted to let you know that we're here and ready to answer any questions you might have. And if there are no questions, we would very much appreciate your support tomorrow. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is James Foster. I reside in District 4, the Forest Park area, and I'm here regarding the zoning annexation located on page 7 of 10. I'm an electrical contractor union. I've resided in the Forest Park District for 54 years, and we're looking to build a shop there and a 3,000 square foot home. Just to let you know, I'm here present to answer any questions regarding that item on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak under citizens to be heard on agenda items? Okay. Seeing none. Next, we will review tomorrow night's actionable items. Council committee reports will be given for the Land Use and Economic Development Committee, Public Safety Committee, and Public Service Committees. Under the consent agenda, we'll have approval of minutes and invoices to be paid. And we'll start with Council Memo number 1-25. Award of contract for the 2025 aluminum sulfate purchase to USA LCO LLC in the amount of $760,370. Are there any questions? Okay. Council Memo number 2-25, award of contract for the 2025 manganese sulfate chemical purchase to Hawkins Incorporated in the amount of $282,030. Any questions? Okay. Council Memo number 3-25, award of contract for the 2025 bulk polymer purchase to Polydyne Incorporated in the amount of $152,250. Any questions? Great. Council Memo number 4-25, award of contract for the 2025 sodium permanganate chemical purchase to Karis Corporation in the amount of $359,382.72. Any questions? Okay. Council memo number 5-25, award of contract for the 2025 blended phosphate chemical purchase to Karis Corporation in the amount of $131,040. Questions? Council memo number 6-25, award of contract for the 2025 bulk sodium hypochlorite purchase to Hawkins Incorporated in the amount of $101,500. Questions? Council memo number 7-25, award of contract for the 2025 sodium bisulfite purchase to Alexander Chemical in the amount of $52,080. Questions? Okay. Council memo number 8-25, award of the 2025 Public Utilities Department Electrical Maintenance Services Contract to Elliott Electric Incorporated in the amount of $278,320. Do you have any questions?
I want to make a comment on this. We discussed this earlier in the department head meeting. And basically, this is an outside service that does work, electric work for our public utilities. And this is something that about what we use in the years 2,000, 2,100 hours, and they've fixed the rate at $129. If we don't use all those hours, that's not how much we pay. So it's kind of like a bulk bid on everything else that we do. But they've been, Allison, they've been working with us how many years?
26.
Okay, thank you. Just want to make that clear on that one.
Yeah, great company. They
Yeah.
did a lot of work at the Park District, and there were no issues over there as well, so, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Council memo number 9-25, award of contract for the well 23D emergency repairs to Great Lakes Water Resources Group in the amount of $80,605. Any questions? Okay. Council memo number 10-25, award of professional services agreement for pre-treatment program assistance to Baxter and Woodman Incorporated in the amount of $120,000. Any questions?
I'll make a comment on this one also. They keep us in line with all the US EPA requirements and everything we're doing. I think, Allison, is that regarding loans and everything else we're doing with the US EPA?
Yes, we have requirements for our funding strategy for both the alternative water source program and the water main replacement program. So when we have the borrowings from both the state low-interest loans and the federal low-interest loans, we use their assistance.
Thank you.
Okay. Council memo number 11-25, approve the 2024-2025 bulk salt purchase with the state of Illinois and Morton Salt at the prorated unit price of $67.52 per ton. Any questions? All right.
Thank you.
Council memo number 12-25, purchase of anti-icing, de-icing fluids for the 2024-2025 snow removal season.
In this memo, there wasn't a dollar amount put in there, but it's $194,000. Is that right, Greg?
Excuse me. Yeah, there's two different purchases in this memo. One is for the BioMelt Supreme, which is a mixture that includes sugar beet juice, which prevents the scatter of the salt when it's applied to the road, and then also calcium chloride, which we mix in with salt brine, the BioMelt solution, in place for de-icing. So there's two purchases in here. That's the total. You're correct. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Council memo number 13-25, amendment number 1 to the professional services agreement for the 2024 water and sewer financial planning services to Burns and McDonnell Engineering Company Incorporated in the amount of $21,000. Any questions?
This also is got to do with the permitting process and the WIFIA loans, the low-interest loans that we get for our water project. Is that correct?
Yes, I misspoke. The prior memo was related to the pre-treatment assistance that we're required to do at our treatment plants. So this one is related to the financial assistance.
Okay, thank you.
Council memo number 14-25, Amendment number 2 for the Phase 3 engineering services for the Joliet, Illinois 53 at Emerald Drive project to Jacob and Hefner Associates Incorporated in the amount of $16,200. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay. Council memo number 15-25, amendment number 2 for the professional services agreement for the design of Joliet City Square, west of Chicago Street from Van Buren Street to Clinton Street, to Civil Tech Engineering Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $30,625. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay. Council memo number 16-25, change order number 1 for the Parks Avenue, Liberty Street to Elwood Avenue roadway project to PT Farrow Construction Company for a decrease in the amount of $104,468.51, and payment estimate number 3 and final in the amount of $17,957.61. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay. Council memo number 17-25, change order number 1 for the Bridge Street, Nicholson Street to North Center Street roadway improvement project to PT Farrow Construction Company in the amount of $18,500. Any questions? Okay. Council memo number 18-25, change order number 1 for the 2023 sidewalk curb replacement project, contract B to Davis Concrete Construction Company in the amount of $55,761.89, and payment number 3 in the amount of $68,658.02. Any questions? Council memo number 19-25, change order number 1 for the Wallace Street roadway reconstruction project to PT Farrow Construction Company, a decrease in the amount of $31,403.09, and payment estimate number 6 and final in the amount of $35,784.60. Any questions? Okay. Council memo number 20-25, change order number 1 for the Forest Park Phase 3 water main improvements project to M&J Underground Incorporated for a decreased amount of $440,548.72. Any questions? Council memo number 21-25, change order number 1 for the Garnsey Park Phase 5A water main improvements project to construction by Camco Incorporated for a decreased amount of $267,010.93. Any questions? Council memo number 22-25, change order number 1 for the Hickory Creek East water main improvements project to Austin Tyler Construction Incorporated for a decreased amount of $772,015.73. Any questions? Council memo number 23-25, change order number 1 for the Idleside water main improvements project to Len Cox and Sons Excavating for a decreased amount of $191,173.14. Any questions? Council memo number 24-25, change order number 1 for the Plainfield Road, Theodore Street to Black Road Water Main Improvements Project on behalf of Austin Tyler Construction for adjustments to project completion dates. Questions? Okay. Council memo number 25-25, change order number 1 for the Varnado Park Main Improvements Project on behalf of Steve Spees Construction in the amount of $106,029.50. Any questions? Council memo number 26-25, change order number 1 for the West Park Water Main Improvements Project to Aries Incorporated for a decreased amount of $465,522.93. Any questions? Okay. Council memo number 27-25, change order number 3 for the Broadway Street, West Marion Street to West Jefferson Street roadway reconstruction project to PT Farrow Construction Company for a decrease in the amount of $17,226.37, and payment estimate number 6 and final in the amount of $53,479.75. Any questions? Council memo number 28-25, authorization to fund pre-development loan draw 10 to Riverwalk Homes LLC in the amount of $298,366.77. Any questions?
No.
Council Memo Number 29-25, approve payment for the Well 27D pump repairs and motor purchase to Lane Christensen Company Incorporated in the amount of $193,109. Any questions? Council Memo Number 30-25, approve payment for emergency repairs to the Des Plaines River Crossing Water Main to Aries Incorporated in the amount of $573,670.69.
I'd like to ask Allison to go over this. We just did it in public service, and it's quite a extensive emergency repair amount, but it obviously was very necessary, and they did a great job preventing a major problem. So go ahead.
Yes, so in September, we had a situation where there was reduced pressure in the downtown area, which is the area of the downtown that is just east of the Des Plaines River. So upon investigation, it was determined that we had a leak on one of the 16-inch water mains that crosses the river. We have a tunnel below the river that's just north of Jefferson Street. So we went to isolate the leak. One of the valves was found to be broken, so we weren't able to isolate it, which was leading to the problems we were having with the pressure downtown. So we were able to contact Aries to come out on an emergency basis. We'd had a leak on this same water main last year, so they were familiar with the situation. So they were able to come out and immediately address the situation. We had to install a line stop, which is basically a means of stopping the water without a valve. Then once that was done, they were able to investigate further and found that the tunnel itself was also leaking. So we had to do a lot of work to install pumping equipment to dewater the tunnel, fix the actual water main break. Then they had to install insertion valves, which are valves you can insert on a live water main, because it's very critical that we don't turn off the water in parts of the downtown for the businesses that are there. So they did that work, and then also installed again the pumping equipment in the tunnel, and also we purchased 2 insertion valves that we can keep on the shelf and available for future emergency situations. Part of the issue we were having was that some of these are specialty items that aren't just readily available. So now in the future, if we do have a situation, we have these available that we can respond much more quickly. Ultimately, we're currently in the design of the replacement of those water mains, and we've accelerated that design work so that we can have a more permanent solution for the water main, these critical water main crossings. And so that work we anticipate to start in 2026.
Thank you.
Okay. Under agenda items, Council Memo Number 32-25. Award of contract for the 2025 biosolids disposable contract to New Era Spreading Incorporated in the amount of $2,425,240. Any questions here?
That's kind of a reoccurring contract, isn't it, Allison?
Yes, we joke around that this is the dirty part of the business. This is the disposal of the sludge at the treatment plants, which we have to do every year. So,
thank you.
Okay. Under licenses and permit applications, Council Memo Number 34-25, application for a drive-through permit for a Starbucks restaurant at 16301 South Boulevard Place, Unit 101. Any questions?
Is the petitioner here to speak on this item?
Yes, my name's Tom Williams. I'm with the development team for the Boulevard project.
Well, I would just ask, I think plenty of other people are kind of wondering the same question about the viability of another Starbucks restaurant. You know, we've had a number of these come before us for approvals for drive-through permits at the council, and it just kind of leads us all to wonder: is there a demand such that there's a competitive enough market for another Starbucks restaurant here in Joliet?
Well, I definitely leave the details up to Starbucks themselves on their market studies, but from what I'm told by them, that they're very interested in having a second location in the vicinity of the location along Route 30 on the other side of I-55 because of the high demand and taxing that's on that drive-through that they get. So according to them, they say it's warranted.
Larry, that's your district. Any problem with this one?
No, not at all. It's in the boulevard, so you're gonna get people come off 55.
Yeah.
It's gonna have good visual impacts. You'll be seeing it from 55. We'll be grabbing people off 55 that otherwise wouldn't know we had one anywhere in town. Am I correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, yeah, so thank you, Terry.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. There will be a public hearing on Council Memo Number 3625, resolution approving an annexation agreement for 0.43 acres located at the southwest corner of Woodruff Road and McKay Street, A-7-24. Any questions? Under ordinances, Council Memo Number 38-25, ordinances associated with the annexation of 0.43 acres located at the southwest corner of Woodruff Road and McKay Street. This includes ordinance approving the annexation of 0.43 acres located at the southwest corner of Woodruff Road and McKay Street. Ordinance approving the classification of 0.43 acres located at the southwest corner of Woodruff Road and McKay Street to an R2 single-family residential zoning district. Ordinance approving a variation of use to allow a contractor shop, a B3 general business district use, and an R2 single-family residential zoning district located at the southwest corner of Woodruff Road and McKay Street. Any questions on this one?
I'll just make a comment. It is in my district, and I spoke to a few residents in the area, and no one's against it. I think everyone's in support of it, so we will support the project.
Thank you.
Okay. Council Memo Number 39-25, ordinance establishing the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee for the City of Joliet. Any questions?
I don't have questions, but I have a comment that I've been getting a lot of pushback this via phone and text about this. I think there needs to be better communication between the council and the people that are making decisions here, because we were not consulted on this outside of Councilman Cardenas, who is on that committee. The pushback that I've gotten is everything that we've heard tonight, that a council person, a district council person, definitely should not be a part of that committee. It gives an unfair advantage to that district being on that committee. But certain other things, like the voters in Joliet are very savvy, the residents are very savvy, they're Googling addresses for these people, they're wondering why there's people that live in New Lenox on this board, there's people in Plainfield on this board. I realize that Plainfield has Joliet parts of, that are in Plainfield as well, but the residents are very savvy, they don't like this, the creation of this, and I really don't have an answer for that because I wasn't involved in this process at all. And being from District 5, which is historically and arguably the most underserved district, I would definitely think that district council people would have been consulted on this, that we would have been asked for recommendations, but none of the above happened. And so I really, really have a problem with this. Thank you.
I'll take it all. I'll take the heat. I'm the mayor. This was one of my agendas in the election, was to get a long-term comprehensive plan put together. I asked everyone to bring someone that might want to get on the planning committee in their district. I got one name, Wendell Martin, District 5. Wendell Martin's on this committee. Cesar Cardenas, District 4, is the head of Economic and Land Use Development. Makes sense. If I have 2 council members on this committee, the mayor can't show up because it's an Open Meetings Act. So we worked hard to put together a group of people that are going to homogenate with the community. There's going to be a lot of subcommittee work in this program. We did pull one of the members that was in LATA. We had 3. We dropped it to 2. Our community is 35% Latino. So we're very cognizant of the demographics and the diversity of our community as we made up this group of people. I'm confident that these people are going to be good leaders that are going to engage in different parts of the community to make sure everyone is communicated with and well aware of everything. I apologize to you, Suzanne, and all my fellow council members that I didn't ask who they thought should be on here, but when I asked who should be on planning and zoning, I got one response. So every once in a while, as the leader, as the guy that gets in trouble, as the mayor, for anything that goes wrong in the city, I'll take the heat on this one. And I have taken a lot of heat. There's not enough diversity. There's not enough this. There is. There's going to be 3 more members added to this group. And we'll make sure that they're all the right people from the community. So when we talk about people that don't live in the community, I agree. And I have the ordinance in my hand. No person shall be seated on an advisory body unless that person is an actual resident of the city or has other sufficient educational, business, or philanthropic ties to the city, business, ownership within the city, administrative positions at a college or university located in the city, executive or philanthropic organizations located in the city. I do my homework. I measure twice and I cut once. I've heard this, and so I'm aware. But if I was elected to be the mayor, I would sure like to have the opportunity to be the leader. Because when I ask and I don't get answers, then I have to make decisions. And we have a really strong staff here. Jim Torrey was part of this. Jane Bernhard. We had staff members helping us with this. So I think we put together a pretty good group of people. And again, we're going to add 3 more people. I'm aware of all this. And again, I took a lot of the same calls and text messages and emails and completely aware. But at some point, the buck stopped somewhere, and it stopped with me. So if anybody wants to be mad and anybody has a problem, catch me after the meeting, catch me tomorrow, whatever. I'm glad to discuss it. As I said, Samantha from the Latino Association is off. Elaine Bottomley, Deputy Chief of Staff, Office of the County of Will, Executive County of Will, a degree in urban planning. We've got a county person involved. Now again, you got to remember, these aren't going to be the complete decision makers, but we're going to be able to break this off into ways that we can communicate with our residents. We're going to ask a lot of help out of our residents. We're going to form committees that are going to work in District 5 and District 4 and in places so that we can understand the makeup of our community. We're 62 square miles, 43,000 acres. We're not all used up yet. We got one chance to do it right, and we want to do it right together. We do want to incorporate many more people from the community. And the one word that I use all the time is together. This is not a me or we, this is all of us. And so I take constructive the comments that have been made. Nora Grunberg lives on the edge of Joliet, New Lenox. Her office is in Joliet. She's governmental affairs for Three Rivers Association of Realtors. She has 350 realtors that work with her. That her office is on, I believe, near St. Joe's Hospital. Jen Howard, president of Joliet Region Chamber of Commerce. I believe she has 1,000 business members in her organization. Again, these are people that can reach out to those areas. You know, if we want to get developers involved and we want to get people like that involved, Nora Grunberg is going to get involved with them in that part of the committee. Jen Howard, again, runs a lot of business people. Wendell Martin, District 5 pastor, passionate for the community. He will bring together a group of people that are going to help architect District 5. Hugh O'Hara, Governmental League, has a lot of broad reach over a lot of things going on, and again, can help us, a Joliet resident. Doug Pryor, I believe, lives in, I don't know, New Lenox, Frankfurt, but he is the president of Will County Center of Economic Development, and they have been involved immensely over the years in the development of all the outlying land of Joliet. And as we move forward, yeah, we have Centerpoint here. We have the largest intermodal operation inland in the whole country. What are we going to do with it? How do we grow it? How do we make sure that our #1 priority is quality of life? You know, there are developers who want to put more warehouses in town right now. We've absolutely shook our head no. Because we need this plan. We need to know where the trucks are coming and going from and how they're going to affect our city. Steve Randich, retired banker, several generations in the community. He was on a committee that we tried to put together with our previous administration, got nowhere. So we'd already had kind of a plan working together. So some of the folks that were part of that, I've asked to come on this one. J.D. Ross, retired president, Joliet Junior College, CEO, Will Grundy Medical. Another guy that has a big picture thought. Another person that when the public school, District 86, needed a referendum, he was one of the co-chairs. He knows how to get out and talk to the community. He knows how to get to every one of the community meetings and be able to articulately explain everything. Teresa Rouse, superintendent of school, District 86, another one I think should be very involved in how we're going to design our community for the long term, because we've got an awful lot of young people we've got to steward to the future. Diana DeVeros is a Latino Economic Development Association Director of Programs. Again, I'm going to mention that 35% of our community, 50,000 are Latino. So we're balancing this as much as we can. Damon Zudnich is a business owner in the Cathedral area. Always likes to voice his opinion, gives me a lot of comments. The people that interact with me in emails and other ways, I ask them to come and help. So Damon was another one that we talked about at the level here of another guy that would be a good partner to us. We have 3 available openings that we're going to discern, and I think what we did here was wake up the community. There's a lot of people who want to get involved. I don't know how to get it out there, but we try, and so we're going to work hard to get 3 more committee members. We're probably going to kick this thing off in about another month. There's going to be meetings once a month, the first Tuesday at 10 o'clock. It's going to be led by the leadership of Lamar Johnson, the company that we chose to run this long-term comprehensive plan. So this group of people is coming together to be able to then become our designees to go out in the community and bring more people together, because you can't have a committee of 100. You really can't get there that way. So we think we handpicked a pretty good group. Again, we've got 3 more folks that we want to bring on board. We're looking for more opportunity. So all the negativity went around this planning, I'm going to take the heat for it. And if it doesn't work, then I'm going to take the heat for that. If it works, we're going to share in the opportunity to say we did the right thing. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Mayor, if it's not too early to say, could you speak perhaps to the possibility of the additional subcommittees that, so effectively this would be the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee, sort of overarching long-term planning, but could you speak to say what sort of additional committees that might be created, that might be opportunities for anyone who didn't make this list that would like to be involved, what other possibilities might there be for them to be part of this process?
I don't have an outline right now on that. I'm sure with our first meeting with Lamar Johnson and their team and our team, we'll develop what strategies we need and what other people that we need to help input to different the decisions we have to make. So I don't have a running list yet, but we will as soon as we get a little bit more involved in it.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
I know Joliet's very unique. Is there anybody or any other municipality that we're modeling after, or another success, I guess, story, if you want to call it that? Is there?
Well, this group, Lamar Johnson, does a lot of this type of work. Maybe Dustin could speak a little more for me on that. They were one of the 2 last RFQs that were chosen, and I think Jim Torrey and Jane Bernhard really leaned towards them as we move forward with this final decision that was made, a year, 6 months ago, when we decided to do this long-term comp plan. Maybe you could give us a little background on that, please.
Sure. I think the question proposed was, does the consultant selected have a model for what they believe success looks like? And the answer is no, completely no. That is the point of the advisory committee, looking at the previous work the city has done in past administrations, downtown plans, sub-area plans, things like that. Then they take a look at the individual interviews that they'll do with key stakeholders like the council members, and then what they do is they form the universe of options is like this, and it gets more narrow and more narrow and more narrow based on the feedback that they receive from the community. So with the community as active and diverse and large as the city of Joliet, not only is there this advisory committee that is a key component in communicating to the larger public, but there will be subcommittees based on the Lamar Johnson collaborative's review of our existing conditions. So maybe they see a trend where they want to, where there is an expressed need based on the feedback that we provide that this particular area of study needs more attention. So say housing or transportation, connectivity, environmental quality, things like that. And then they build out what that strategic plan will look like, again, based on charrettes and public engagement that will go on for the next 18 months in the city of Joliet. So this isn't the first or only bite at the apple. This is the first step in a very long journey that we are going to go side by side with the entire community.
Thank you. You know, as we've all grown together this last year and a half as I've been mayor, I've heard people come up. Larry Crawford mentioned a quality of life plan that was done some years ago. You know, some of that stuff we want to pull back out and see what in there can we reutilize. There was a riverfront plan done a number of years ago. We're a unique city. We've got the river running through us. We've got a tremendous amount of truck traffic that we're trying to figure out how to get our downtown back. You know, there's a immense amount of things that we're going to have to do to try and draw the right picture, architect this city for the next 5, 10, 20 years. And it is going to take a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of emotion, a lot of input, and we have a lot of people that want to help us. But you have to start with a core group, and that's where we're at right now.
I just want to additionally add, if I might, that decisions can be made in a silo with 1 or 2 people or a small group of people, but the decisions do not move forward without every member of this council. So with all due respect, I think it is very important for something as important as the direction of this city for the next 50 years to, at the very least, be consulting the council and be asking for suggestions on names. Whether you use that or not, it's completely up to you, but whether it moves or not is up to all of us together, collaboratively as a community. That's what community is all about. And we've been talking about this a lot, the comprehensive plan and getting it started. I'm not against a committee at all, but what I'm against is not having it be a collaborative process along with the council in picking these people. Thank you.
We've got 3 more names. Thank you.
Council memo number 40-25, ordinance approving a special use permit to allow an automotive repair business located at 206 South Boulder Avenue. Any questions?
Is the petitioner here? Would you mind stepping forward? So I lived in that neighborhood for 5 years. That is an extremely tight corner, and the people coming back and forth on Boulder go at a very high rate of speed. So I'm wondering if you think there's enough room for what you want to do there.
You mean the 2nd Avenue and Boulder Street? I mean, like on a petition, I said I'm going to do like 2 cars a week maximum, so it's not going to be congested by my business. I know there's a from the neighbor living across. She he has a problem with the semi trucks are driving over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big problem there. It's a narrow street and those big trucks come flying
Yeah,
down
but
there.
My business is not gonna do anything with the semi trucks,
Okay,
just small cars. That's
okay.
all.
Thank
Thank
you.
Any other questions?
Okay. Council Memo number 41-25, ordinance abating the taxes heretofore levied for the year 2024 to pay debt service on $3,665,000 general obligation bonds, Series 2020A, and $93,595 general obligation bonds, Series 2022 of the City of Joliet, Will, and Kendall Counties, Illinois. Any questions?
Isn't that 93,595,000?
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah.
This is on
Sorry.
tape, I want to make sure that.
Sorry. Reading a lot tonight. Sorry about that.
Okay.
No questions? Okay. Council Memo number 42-25, ordinance approving a $3,500,000 loan agreement with the Joliet Public Library. Any questions?
Kevin, there will be interest charged on this, correct?
Correct. So it's set up similar to, I'll akin it to a treasury. The U.S. Treasury sets these rates daily based on the treasury prices. Looking this morning, if we were to close the loan today, the loan would be at a rate of 4.88%.
Thank you.
Mayor, I have a question, please.
Sure.
So this 20 years, this is what's bothering me. I mean, in 20 years, they're going to need another whole library. And there's going to be different people in place. And they have a right to default. I didn't read the whole thing, but something, if they default the, not the right, but if they default the loan, what happens then?
Well, I don't know if they could default the loan. So the loan gives us a levy on their property taxes. So we were able to step in and basically take the payments, if you will, to make the annual payment of the loan. Maybe what you're referring to is they get one chance where they can renegotiate or refinance at a lower interest rate.
Back today, because I was
Yeah.
in a.
So they do have one ability to do a refinance. So for instance, if they were to close today at 4.8%, if this rate were to go down, they have one shot in 20 years to lower the rate.
And
Maybe
the other
that's
thing that's been coming up too is, that I've been getting calls, they did pay the other 3.5 million that we loaned them before. What was it, 6 million? I'm sorry, I forget.
I think it was around 6.
6 million, okay. And they paid it back quickly, but that was from a grant that they received from the state of Illinois. So that's why it was paid back so quickly. So that's why people are asking, why are we doing this when this has happened before? So I'm wondering, is there any other grant money out there that they're trying to pursue?
I would defer the library. I know just during the budget presentations, they are getting a small portion of the project by grants. It's less than $1 million. I want to say it's around $500,000 or less, but I'd have to defer to the library on that one.
Okay.
Good evening. Thank you for your question. We are receiving a grant from the state for $360,000. I did ask our state senators if there is more money available at this time. They cannot commit to any more. Our library was very lucky, the city was lucky, that we were given that $6.5 million from the state to do Project Burnham. And while I realize that's taxpayer money, it's over a greater amount of taxpayers that got to pay for this. The library has never asked then the city to finance any of our projects. And even now, we're not asking you to finance this project, we're asking for a loan that in the end of the day actually benefits the city. So that 3.5 million can either for the next 20 years sit in a bank, a CD, or it can go towards helping the residents of Joliet who really need our library and who can't just press a button and buy all the books they want from Amazon, or can't just have high-speed internet in their homes. We provide that for them. We help people find jobs. We help people who have medical conditions. There's lots of reasons that the library helps your constituents every single day.
So another question that I have. How long do you think this renovation will take?
We've been told between 8 to 10 months.
8 to 10 months, it'll be up and running?
Yes, it'll be up and running the entire time. We're just gonna, it'll be uncomfortable for
No, I meant the whole, what you want to do with it out there, that's what I'm trying to.
8 to
when
10
it's
months, but
done.
we're gonna stay open the whole time. Just, it'll be crowded and uncomfortable for staff and patrons for a little bit.
And what about parking? I know parking's always an issue out there. Is there a plan for that?
At this time, there's not a plan to add spaces.
Okay.
That would be more expensive.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor? My question is for the council. I don't know that we're going to answer it right now. Would this same loan opportunity be afforded to the Plainfield Library District, which is part of Joliet too?
Yes, what?
Plainfield Library District.
Yeah, did they ask for mine?
But would we?
Oh, I see.
Is that a policy that we're, or is it just for Joliet Library? It's, Kevin, you can weigh in, but really.
Sorry. Yeah, that's up to the
Right.
council.
It's-
Sorry, it is a council
It's
decision.
something for us to
Yes.
think about, is what I'm telling you.
Rhetorically speaking, if it's a certain percentage of the Plainfield residents that are living in Joliet and paying those taxes, maybe if they ask for a loan, I would imagine it would be just whatever percentage, like if a third of the residents of the village of Plainfield live in the city of Joliet and are taxpayers, maybe it would be some, like a percentage.
Then we should.
But I'm not committing for everybody, I'm
No,
just
no,
saying
no.
for myself.
Councilman, I understand what you're saying, and it
Okay.
kind of makes sense. So did we consider the percentage that actually go to the, you know, there's probably a third of the city that doesn't belong to, you know, to the, because Joliet Library is not a district. We've established that. It's kind of a hybrid. It's not owned or controlled other than budget-wise as far as the levy by the city. So I'm just saying, you know, we have a lot of different school districts in the city, and we have different we have different park districts too. And different, actually, the Joliet Golf out on Tate and Fire is actually in Plainfield Park District's territory. That was established some 40 years ago, when everything was unincorporated still. But, so it's just something that we need to think about. Is this a policy, or we say no to, you know, Plainfield, if Plainfield will say, hey, look, we can get a better deal getting a loan through the city than we can going, you know, to the market. Are we going to say no to them, or are we going to say yes to them? And are we setting a trend or a precedent here?
Well, we could look into that. I know that they're a fire district. They may be a library district. They're kind of different jurisdictions, so we can look at that.
Yeah, I do want to add, I mean, from a financial component, this is similar to, instead of me going out and buying a treasury for 20 years or a CD, it's basically giving a loan to the library and then they pay us back over time. So it's, you know, from a financial component, the staff's recommendation would be, as long as the interest rate and the terms protect the city, then we would recommend it. In this situation at 4.8%, I mean, it's a very competitive rate. Obviously, that's going to be determined based on the day of closing, but just as an example, it's comparable to what I see the city receiving on our treasuries. So from an investment, which is what this is, it's coming from our investment pool, it's actually no different than us buying a treasury.
But, excuse me, you can't guarantee that for 20 years, can you?
Mm-hmm.
You can?
Yeah, treasury's locked in for 20 years.
Okay.
Plus, the taxes are collected by the city of Joliet.
And in this situation, the taxes are collected by the city. Even the Plainfield Library, I would imagine the majority of their budget is property taxes, so it's this similar credit, which is allowed in the state statute.
Can I make a comment as well? And I know for a lot of people that probably don't visit the library often, I had a meeting there less than a month ago, I think it was, at the Black Road Library, and I hadn't been there in a long time. But it was super busy. All like 3 meeting rooms or whatnot were busy. Like you said, the parking lot was packed. The amount of people I've seen in there, I was surprised. Like I said, it's been a while since I've been to the library myself. But it was very, very busy. And I think if we can make, we're making interest on the money and helping our, constituents have a place to go and get access to things that they can't get normally, then some of us have easy access to. I think it's a good idea.
Mr. Mayor.
Oh, sorry, were you first?
It doesn't matter.
Both of the libraries are super busy. I mean, you're lucky if you can find a parking space off the Black Road. Even without the little cafe in there, both of the libraries are just super, super busy. So when constituents reach out every time there's something that has to do with the library and they say who uses it, like, you don't go to the library because a lot of people use it. The media room is amazing. There's so many amazing things to do and see there. And both the libraries are extremely well utilized. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not against the library at all. I just think maybe we should let the public decide. Maybe we put on a referendum for the public to decide if, you know, they want to give the 3.5% of the city lending the money. And Councilman Hogg, you do have a point with Plainfield. That was a good point. But those are my thoughts on the library. So,
Thank you.
Another question that's kind of relevant. Greg, is this the part where the crossing has been an issue that Mr. Pisker was here before talking about that? Is that the road he's talking about on Black Road?
I think the crossing in question is further west of
It's
there.
further down?
Yeah, it's by the frontage road.
There's one there as well, the subdivision. But I
Um,
don't know if they were talking about that one or the other, or both.
No, I think it's where the bike path comes out.
Further down, further
Close
west.
to the frontage road and Wooded Creek subdivision. Yeah, that's the one he's considering.
There's a light at Timberline that goes
Yeah.
into the library.
Yeah, you are correct.
That's right,
Councilwoman
okay,
Reardon.
all right, thank you.
Me, I'm just thinking about this, listening. Kevin, with the fact that we are getting a rate that would be similar to a treasury, so we're not losing money in that way. We're gaining by upgrading our library for our Joliet residents, and we control the levy, the payment.
Correct.
So we won't lose, they will not default because we do control that payment. So, to me, it's a win-win for the whole city.
Thank you.
Okay. Council Memo Number 43-25. Ordinances associated with the preliminary planned unit development of Vista Ridge subdivision. This includes an ordinance approving a preliminary planned unit development of Vista Ridge subdivision, an ordinance approving zoning reclassification of part of 8301 Caton Farm Road from an R1B single-family residential zoning district and an R4 low-density multi-family residential zoning district to an R2 single-family residential zoning district, and from an R1B single-family residential zoning district to an R4 low-density multi-family residential zoning district. Any questions?
Any questions on this one?
Yeah, I have one question. In the changing in the zoning, is it still meeting the city's density ordinance?
The proposed changes to the zoning comply with what they're asking for. So as proposed, the preliminary plat does conform to the zoning variation that they're seeking.
Under our, we have a, I'm sure you're more than aware, that we have a density ordinance which outlines per acre,
Yes.
and it meets the current ones. There's no waiving.
No. They would have to seek approval to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mayor, when this was passed before the economy went and the thing just sat there, it was approved for 257 single-family homes with bigger lots and 72 townhomes. Now they're asking for 321 single-family homes on smaller lots and 76 townhomes. And I'm wondering, do we really want to go down to smaller yard space for our residents for single-family homes? Originally it was started out as that. It just seems like we're cramming a lot. There's not going to be enough room for people to have yards, and they're going to be on top of one another.
Well, I know that when this was proposed, Jim Torrey said there are other neighborhoods that had the variation in lot size. A lot of it has to do with the economics of the building and the ability to bring these things in at an affordable rate. So it was heavily discussed on that, but those lot sizes are the same as we've done in other neighborhoods in the past.
I know, but we were trying to look forward and not have that, make bigger lots and bigger homes, because that's what people want now. They want a bigger, but I understand the affordability as well. It's it's catch-22 here. They want this, but you can't always have that. But I didn't know if that was something that we wanted to compromise on when it was already agreed to, the 251 home, 57 as opposed to 321.
This is
Bigger lots.
this is my district, and I've really not got any pushback on it. People need affordable housing. The only way to bring that affordable housing is some type of change, and if this is the change, I know that we've had a lot of people complain they don't want to have apartment complexes and other types of affordable housing for people. We have to do something to allow people to stay here, live here, and how wonderful to own their own property. So in my district, I've not got the pushback.
Can I ask Kevin
I
a
got some
question?
calls, so that's why I'm asking.
Can I ask Kevin a question? Kevin, I have a question. Does higher density housing yield more tax dollars? I'm just curious.
Depends on the assessed value. So the
Okay.
idea is you look at the value per acre, so it's hard to say without knowing exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor? What are the frontages on the single family?
I could butcher it, but we do have the petitioner here who could give you down to the inch.
Okay. Let's do the non-butchering then. On the single family, what are the frontages for the lots?
Yeah, our minimum lot design is 62 feet wide. The city minimum is 60 foot wide.
And what are they on the townhouses? These are 2-unit townhouses?
They are 4 and
Oh, I'm sorry,
5.
4.
Yeah, they're 4 and 5 unit wide buildings, and the buildings are approximately 25. Each unit is approximately 25 feet wide.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just ask the depth of the width? Yeah, the depth, what's the depth of the lot?
The depth of the lot is approximately 130 feet deep. So we do comply with we exceed the minimum R2B lot size.
Okay. And then where does the house sit on the lot? Are they all going to be even?
Well, we've got, one of the nice things about this plan is it's not very gritty. There's a lot of curve in the streets. There's the main Gray Wall Boulevard that comes through the middle of the site. So with that, you get a varied streetscape just because of the curves in the street versus if you've got a mile-long straight street and every house is 25 foot back, you get more of that repetitive look. You'll get a better feel along those curves in those streets.
Okay. I just don't want cookie cutter, cookie cutter, cookie cutter.
No, I think our builder partner Ryan Holmes has done a very fine job in providing a wide range of options for both two-story and single-story living for all these houses.
And what about the facades? What's on the facades? Of the homes?
It's a mixture of brick and siding. It complies with all the requirements that were set forth in the original Vista Ridge annexation agreement.
Okay. And different colors, like if someone wants to buy the house, will they let you, do they get to pick their color or you have a certain plan?
They have a number of varied different, someone here is from Ryan Holmes tonight, they can speak to it, but I do know they have varied options for exterior colors.
Because I didn't see any pictures, that's why I'm asking.
There was some sample plans in the packet, the Plan Commission packet, but not all the different color options.
I don't get a plan commission packet, so I didn't see it.
Sorry, didn't
Okay.
realize that, sorry.
All right, thank you, sir.
Sure, thank
Mayor,
you.
one more. What's the approximate square footage for the single family and the square foot, living space for the townhomes?
They're again, I can have Ryan Holmes, but their single-family homes range from 1,400 to 2,500 square foot, and I believe the townhomes are about 1,700 square foot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's big for the town.
Anyone else? All set, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Council memo number 44-25, ordinance authorizing the termination of the lease agreement between the City of Joliet and Migraine Brewing Company, LLC. Any questions?
Any questions on this one?
Well, I did have some questions, but I wasn't able to talk with our attorney today because he had some meetings to go to. So I want to look over the lease before I vote on that.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yeah.
can you give us where we're at, how we got here with the migraine? Just for the general public and everybody here.
Well,
A lot of it happened before I was here. This goes back several years. The owner of Migraine, he expended a substantial sum of money into rehabbing this facility. There's pictures in some of the resolutions where it was a dirt floor before he came in, and I think the total was $2.52 million that he expended for the city's benefit. He closed up shop, I think officially in 2023. Per the resolutions, there's some tenant improvement credits. There's a table on if we terminate the lease at a certain point, we owe him a substantial sum of money. A lot of this gets around that. We have an agreement for $250 so that he walks away and that we can take the property back and try to get some other restaurant in there because the location is a pretty viable location across from the Slammer Stadium.
Thank you for that explanation.
All right, thank you.
Have we or can we reach out to the Slammers, the owners?
We have.
That could be a good, good point for them. Okay.
Mayor, if we're moving on, I just have 4 quick things, if that's all right.
Sure.
Under the comprehensive plan, I'd maybe consider a labor leader. We can put that maybe on the list. Alice and I had a question on all the water mains in the paving. I had a lot of people say, are we coming back the following year to repave what has been disturbed?
So we coordinate this with the Public Works Department, and so what we have done is, of course, we want to do the water main work prior to, roadway, them doing the resurfacing. So we typically wait at least a year, if not 2, because oftentimes there may be issues with the trench where there could be settling or there could be defects that need to be corrected. So that's what we would like to proceed with, assuming then there's budget within Public Works to fund that resurfacing.
Thank you. And then when do we pave residential streets? Like once every 20, once every 15?
It's dependent on budget, but the typical design life of a residential street is probably 20 years. Now, some will go faster, some will last longer. It's in the 20-year range. In previous years, we probably have fallen behind, quite honestly. But in more recent years, the council's approved a significant increase of funding. As if you noticed, we've done a significant number of streets in the last several years. As Allison kind of mentioned, we don't want to do a resurfacing project and then come and tear it up for water main the next year. So some of these streets that might need a resurfacing, we've been holding off until the water main's done. And so the resurfacing in recent years has kind of been concentrated a little bit in the western part of the city because that's newer water main. In the coming years, that'll probably swing back to the eastern portion of the city to get those streets resurfaced as the water main is installed on those streets.
Thank you. I just want to make sure that we're giving the residents out there the right information. So,
Sure.
But I appreciate that. And then I touch on this, I don't know, almost every meeting. The signs that are in the parkway and out of the parkway, especially Ingalls and 30. There's somebody advertising tutoring. If we could pull those signs, we reach out to them and tell them to stop putting the signs in the city. They're all over. I mean, hundreds of them. But specifically Ingalls and 30. And then I noticed on Chicago Street, and we're all aware it's under construction, is, maybe we can reach out, just a thought I had, maybe we could reach out to Austin Tyler. I'm not sure if they're gonna work through the winter, but they laid all that concrete, and maybe we could temporarily open it up for some of the elderly and the handicapped that are trying to get to the Rialto or some of the restaurants. I see it's sitting there. Maybe we could put some coal patch and some fencing and maybe help some of these elderly people. They have a long way to go to get to the Rialto or some of these restaurants, and it's kind of difficult. So I'm not really sure if it's feasible. Is it safe? It was just a thought I had today when I was walking downtown. So
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, so we have had questions on that. It is still an active construction zone, so we don't want to take all the fencing down, but we are looking at potentially doing something directly in front of the Rialto for an ADA drop-off, so people could be dropped off right in front of the building, removing some of the fencing there. And then just to the north of that area, there is an alley apron that has been completed, looking at potentially allowing some valet service to occur near there as well for some of the businesses. So we're looking at what we can do. In general, we can't take all the fencing down just because the areas between the sidewalk and the curb, we don't want pedestrians in that area. It's dangerous. But we're looking at select locations where we might be able to accomplish some of the things you're talking about.
Good, I appreciate it. It's like others are seeing what I'm seeing. It's,
yes.
If we could help them out, I think it'd be a big help to everybody.
Yeah, we're looking at that.
Thank you.
Greg, I know we had a meeting this morning, or this afternoon at 1:30. I couldn't attend it, but it's with Austin Tyler. How does that look? And tell us a little bit about their plan for the winter, would you?
Yeah, they're going to continue working on the city square through the winter. They are looking at putting up a tent there over the city square, a very large tent. It's going to look like Oktoberfest maybe down there. But looking at doing construction, they can do some underground work, some conduit, some foundation work over the winter, and continue working through the winter months there.
So that's going to move our schedule along pretty well, right?
Yes. I would never want to say that we're ahead of schedule, because that's kind of a kiss of death, but we're pleased with the progress on the project.
Thank you.
Okay, we will have appointments. The mayor will have a reappointment to the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners and appointment recommendations for the new Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee tomorrow evening. And then we have public comment. Do we have anybody that would like to address the council?
I want to say this in addition to what I've said before, but I want to say this. When you see Joliet, you realize how many towns Joliet has butted into and taken land away from other cities. You know, where most of this Center Point development is, that used to be Elwood. Where North Point's going, was Elwood. You know, when people come and want to develop land and they want to buy a piece of land and it's in a different town's address, it should stay in that town's address. Joliet should not be able to sit there and keep annexing land from all other towns around. Because the remaining people who remain there, like on my street where I used to live, where my mom's house was, I still got my neighbors out there. And what the past council did and Center Point did, making that road into a 4-lane semi-truck highway to get to that toll bridge that Center Point built. Why is sending the trucks down a road where residents live and it's very hilly and everything, to where it used to be a peaceful 2-lane, no truck road? Needless to say, you risk the lives and you all talk about safety. You didn't care one bit about safety, about those people living on the road. You didn't care about my safety when I lived on that road, and my remaining neighbors who still live out there. You all just thought that, and all these people on the committees and Will County Economical Development, they just thought, well, everybody's sold out, everybody's gone, nobody's around there anymore. Wrong. There's people that still live out there. At Joliet, you have come and let all this development come right up to people's doorsteps, and like what's happening over there by my neighbors who remain. The properties are totally surrounded by Joliet right now. They are stuck right in totally surrounded in all ways, because Joliet took and annexed that land into Joliet, to what used to be Elwood. They're trapped. They're right there. Like I said, they're 360 degrees surrounded by Joliet now. But yet, they're not Joliet. They're still Elwood, Shanahan Township, Elwood mailing address. You know, and you think, oh, our lives don't matter. Our lives should matter. Because you're letting this development come up to our doorstep, and you're letting all the trucks come down what used to be our road. You know, you want all this development, Joliet, you want your, you know, let all this development in, and then find a way to make the trucks and that and go on your roads. Do not be giving away public roads like you gave public roads, you gave Patterson Road to Center Point, you gave so many roads out there to Center Point, and what used to be Shanahan Township Road, all of a sudden Joliet came in and annexed the land, and they took control of the land, and they took control of the road. Your road is Better Road, which is South Hobo now, you can change the name of it, is a Joliet Road, what used to be a Shanahan Township Road. You took that away, you know, I mean, you keep letting this development come up to everybody in District 5's area, and yet our lives are so drastically developed, offended by all this. If you want all this development, then you find a way to keep it off the residential streets. There are ways that trucks can go without being on residential streets. You know, you gotta find a way. You want this, I don't think town should be allowed, and Joliet should be allowed to annex any more land from any more cities. I don't care who buys the land and who where. If they bought the land, they bought it in that city's town mailing address, it ought to stay in that town's address and not be able to be annexed into Joliet, and we get bullied and our lives get ruined by Joliet.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the council this evening? Okay, seeing none, there is no request for closed session this evening. Is there anything else, Mayor, Council? Anything else? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, opposed? Okay, meeting adjourned.